It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege of interviewing the Western Michigan head women's golf coach, Coach Kim Moore. How are you doing today?
Very good. Very good, Brandon. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching in college women's golf?
I've played golf since I started in high school, played collegiate golf, played a little professional golf out of college. And then I right out of college had the opportunity to coach as a assistant for the men's and women's program at IPFW, which is now PFW in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And so I kind of did that while I was playing professionally. And so I kind of got the bug of coaching and knew that that was something I really enjoyed. But, I was still wanting to play and further my career in playing. And so, once that kind of started winding down a little bit, I got into the PGA and finished my PGA Class A certification and just knew I wanted to get back into coaching sometime. So, it took me a few years to get that Class A certification. And then once I did that, I was able to kind of put my name back in the running for some jobs that were open at that time. And I was able to get a head coaching job at St. Mary's College in South Bend, Indiana. And that's kind of when I started to get back into coaching. But right out of college is kind of when I knew I wanted to do a little more coaching, once I stopped playing. So um, I'm glad I'm in this profession. And like I tell my student athletes, I'm living the dream every day. So it's great.
What was that experience like for you as a college athlete going to Indianapolis and getting to play collegiate golf?
It's a wonderful experience. I let any recruits know, any student athletes, prospects. I mean, if you get the opportunity to play in college, it's something that not very many people get to do, and it's a great experience that you'll remember for the rest of your life. And so I'm so happy that I had that chance to play at the Division II level at the University of Indianapolis, and kind of started, their competitive run that they've been on the last few years. And I'm super glad that I was a part of that and getting that started. But it's just a wonderful experience to play a collegiate sport, just the commitment you have to have, and just like a lot of the life lessons that you learn playing a college sport is huge. But just that time being with your teammates and playing golf and getting to experience different states and places you've never been to, especially at that age. And I definitely recommend it for anybody who's wanting to try to do that, regardless of the level, Division I, II, III, NAIA. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities for women to play collegiate golf, and it's just a great experience to have in your 4 years.
What was that feeling like getting to represent them and putting on that polo for them?
It was great. I mean, I'm a competitive person. I wanted to play in any tournament I could. And so, being able to represent myself, my family, my institution, was definitely something I really took serious. And I was really fortunate and excited every time I was able to step out there and play. And I just knew it was something bigger than just myself. So it was a great experience.
After your college time, what was it like getting to play professional golf and getting to be on the pro circuit?
It was tough. It was fun. And you met a lot of people from all over the world. But it's not an easy thing, especially when, golf is a very individualized sport. And you are one of the best players in your area, in your state, and at your college. And then you go to play professional golf, and there are a lot of great players out there that you don't ever see, that you've never seen before, that come from all over the world. So it's very competitive. but it's a great experience. You get to meet so many different people, see so many different places. I mean, all the places that I've really been to is because of the sport of golf, and so I wouldn't change that, but, it's definitely a little more stressful when it's all on you and your shoulders, um, but, it's something that, I always tell people if, give it a shot. It's a great experience, and, if you can make it work, it's definitely something that a lot of people don't get to do.
What was that experience like for you being an assistant golf coach and going to Purdue Fort Wayne?
Like I said, it was a great experience for me to just kind of get introduced to coaching. Out of college, it wasn't necessarily something I thought I was going to do. Um, but it worked out well with me playing and the schedules worked out well. And so, just getting the opportunity to learn a little bit and how to coach a little bit more. That was a little bit before I started my PGA certification as well and learning more of the golf swing. So just the aspect of coaching the young student athletes, men and women, it was a really unique experience to coach the men too. But um, yeah, it was just something that I really enjoyed, and um, I knew once I did that, if I ever stopped playing, that was definitely something I wanted to try to get into.
What was that like for you, as you said, when obviously when you were playing with the women, and now as a coach, getting to coach both the men and the women?
Well, currently now I just coach women. There's no men's team at Western, but when I was at Purdue Fort Wayne, it was really different coaching the women and then coaching the men, um, even as an assistant. But I was actually really surprised in how well the men's team actually responded and listened to me as a coach. And at that time I wasn't too much older than them, and so it was really good to see how well they responded. Obviously there's some differences there when it comes to teaching women and teaching men, but they're all one thing I found is that they're all very open to learning. Yes, they're pretty accomplished golfers when they get to that level, but they always have room for improvement and room to grow, and they're definitely willing to do that. And so, even at the men's side, it was pretty neat to see how they were very responsive to me as a coach. But I knew I could relate a little bit better to the women's side just because I played a lot of women's golf and played competitively and knew that ins and outs and things like that. But it was a great experience to do both.
What was that feeling like when you got that call from St. Mary's College to become their head coach?
I was excited, a little nervous, knowing that that was kind of my first head coaching job. But I knew the golf portion I would be very good at. The practices and everything that was kind of related to golf. I was not too nervous about. I knew I could do well there. It was more of the administrative side that I haven't really experienced a whole lot as a head coach, and so learning those things. Was a little nerve-wracking, but St. Mary's was a great place to start, was a great place to be. I love that university. It's always going to hold a special place in my heart and in my journey. And I did a lot of great things there as a coach and really learned how to be a coach, how to deal with women golfers, women student athletes, and also a lot of other aspects of the administrative side. I had many hats when I was at St. Mary's. I even coached a little. I was assistant coach for the basketball team when I was there for 5 years too. So I got a little taste of coaching a different sport, which was really cool. And just dealing with even the students, not just the student athletes, kind of doing some things other than just golf at that university. And so it kind of gave me a really holistic experience in the university realm, that kind of being my first full-time job at a university. So, I was very comfortable going anywhere else. So it was a great experience. I was super excited to have that job. And, I really credit it to where I'm at today.
While at St. Mary's, what were some of your biggest accomplishments as their head coach?
Um, well, we did a number of different things. A lot of the players that I've recruited and teams that I had are, you know, towards the top of the historical rankings right now, and I'm very excited about that. Not just for myself, but for those people. We won 3 conference championships, made it to 3 NCAA championships, um, and was very successful academically. We had a number of top academic students, academic All-Americans, couple All-Americans on my team there. So definitely some success, and that's why I say I credit a lot of my success today from that university and the experiences I had there.
While coaching college golf, what has it been like also getting to coach professional golf players and getting to teach them?
Um, I mean, I haven't taught a whole lot of professional players, a lot of amateurs. I've taught being a PGA class A professional. When I was at St. Mary's, I also worked with our home golf course every summer, kind of running their clinics and a little private instruction at that course. And it's fun to see, just the little improvements that you can make with anybody's golf game, just giving them a little more instruction, a little more things for them to think about and work on. So I mean, just that helped me as a coach, just getting used to teaching and the golf swing, and just those experiences have really helped me along the way.
Coming to Western Michigan, what was that experience like getting announced to become their next head coach and getting started?
Um, Again, very excited. At that time I really wasn't necessarily looking for a Division 1 position. I knew eventually I might want to jump to the Division 1 ranks, but I wasn't necessarily actively searching for something like that. But the opportunity came along, and one of my really good friends used to coach or used to play at Western Michigan. And she told me about the position that was open and said, I think you'd be really good to be the coach there. And she's like, I would probably apply, but I don't have the credentials that you have. So I just gave it a shot and applied. And then when I was offered the position, it was very exciting, a little nerve-wracking again, just because again, the golf side, I knew I would be fine, but coming into a new administration and how that worked and the new policies and procedures at a bigger university, a bigger budget, a lot of different things that were a little different. Just getting used to those things is always a little nerve-wracking and how you're going to respond, but it just takes some time. And but I was very excited to start that next chapter of my career. And I'm super excited to be here with the administration and the guidance we have now through our athletic director and all the people here and the resources we have. It's a great place to be.
As a head coach, what has it been like getting to build the golf culture at Western Michigan?
Um, yeah, I mean, it's always a challenge to step in and be a new face, especially for some players that have been there for a little while. But I'm a competitive person, and I like to win, and I like to do things the right way. And it does. It starts with the culture. It starts with building step by step those pieces and bringing in players that are going to work with that culture and buy in. And I think we've had some great milestones and some great steps. I think we have some things to work on and things to get better. We're not quite at the level that we want to be at yet. Um, but it takes some time and it takes some persistence, and it takes the right players to build that. And we are in the right direction. We continue to get better and better every year. So that's always a plus, and that's always something I look at. But that's my goal, is to hopefully win a conference championship and make it to the postseason and do some things that really haven't been done here at Western. And I'm excited about the opportunities.
In your first few seasons there, what have been some of your biggest accomplishments as a head coach?
Um, we've had a number of academic All-Americans. I've I, we've had the best academic GPA last semester or last year for our team in school history. We've broken a number of 54 18-hole school records. And like I said, every year gets a little bit better. Our averages are going down. I can see the competitiveness in the players. I can see the buy-in in the players, and you know, there's some great things happening here, and I'm just excited about the opportunities ahead and where we can go. And with the announcement of a big project that's going to happen here for golf, for women's golf, just what that's going to bring to our program is going to be huge. And so just the opportunities we have going forward, I think will really help propel us to where we want to go here in the near future.
For you, what did that feel like the first time you got to put on that coaching golf polo and represent Western Michigan?
Again, another opportunity, something that, I never take for granted. Again, it's when you're putting on that polo and being out there on the golf course, obviously I'm not hitting golf shots, but I'm out there part of the team as well. And just knowing that, we're representing something bigger than just ourselves. And yes, golf is a very individualized sport, but there's a lot of fun when you're successful as a team and can represent a university and represent a program and represent your family and friends and obviously yourself. But anytime you get to do that, it's very humbling, and it just gives you a little bit more meaning than just a normal going out and playing with the local ladies league or something like that at your local club. So it's very special.
What does a typical golf tournament look like at Western Michigan?
Typically we're playing 54-hole events. A lot of times it's 36 holes in one day and then 18 the next day. And then you're usually playing an 18-hole practice round the day before. So it's usually a 3-day event typically. And depending on how far we're going, we might even leave the day before. So I mean, it's most Division I tournaments, I'd say probably 85-90% of the events you're going to play 36 in one day, 18 the next. Especially in the fall. Early in the spring, you may play a number of 18-18 events just because of daylight and time. But yeah, I mean, it's teams from all over. It doesn't necessarily have to be teams in your conference that you're playing. We tend to see a lot of familiar faces, but it's always great to kind of switch up that schedule too and play some new tournaments that we get in every year, and just to experience new places and new courses and new teams is something I'm always looking forward to in a schedule. But yeah, that's typically a golf tournament for Division I, really.
Who are some of the teams in your conference that you see during these tournaments?
Yeah, we see a lot of our MAC schools. We're in the Mid-American Conference, so we're seeing a lot of Eastern Michigan, Central Michigan, Ball State, Toledo, Ohio University, Bowling Green. We'll see a lot of non-conference teams too, like Oakland and even Purdue Fort Wayne. We've seen a number of times, and Loyola University out of Chicago. A lot of regional teams that we see quite a bit. But then when we get to switch up some tournaments and travel a little bit, we'll see a number of different teams from the West, teams from the East, South. I mean, we host a tournament every year in Rio Verde, Arizona, and we get a number of teams that we don't see a lot, like South Dakota and California Baptist, and a couple new schools that'll be in the tournament, Utah Tech and Evansville. So we see a number of different teams, but those are kind of our normal conference teams, and especially in the fall when we see a lot of the same teams. But they're great competition, and it's really good for us to compete against them.
What is it like getting to see those teams in your conference, like Bowling Green, that you see during competitions versus seeing like different teams that are non-conference every now and then?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see them. I mean, I don't always want to see them in every single tournament because I know it's good to see some different teams, but it's always good to kind of see how you stack up against those teams because you're going to play them at the end of the season in the conference tournament. Um, and obviously things can change throughout the year, but it really gives you a good kind of comparison of how you fit in within your conference when you see a lot of your conference teams. We don't always see every single conference team all the time, but we get a good feel of where we can kind of fit in and stand, um, when we get to see them quite often. So
As a head coach, what is it like getting to host a tournament?
there's a lot of work. It's fun to host. But yeah, it's you got a lot to think about when you're hosting a tournament. Especially if it's a conference championship, which we hosted last year here in Kalamazoo. But it's a little stressful because you're always hoping it goes well and you're hoping the weather is good and all of those things. But if you have a good team behind you and good support staff, it really goes pretty smooth. We host that tournament in Rio Verde, Arizona, which is obviously a little farther away from Kalamazoo, Michigan. But we've been doing that for it's been at least 20 years now. And so it's kind of depending on some turnover here and there with some staff over there, but it's been very smooth transition. It kind of runs itself now. The community there is very supportive of the tournament and very excited to have us every year. And so, we get a lot of support and volunteers and things like that. But it's just a lot of work, but it's fun to be able to host something and especially, creating a tournament that is very successful. And Rio Verde, the tournament we host in Arizona, it's a big tournament. It's one of the top tournaments in the country that year or that time of year. And we always get a number of great teams, and I always have a little waiting list even for teams to get in. And so, it's great that way, but it can be a little stressful at times, but it's enjoyable too.
What does that recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to play women's golf?
It starts, especially the Division I level, it starts a little earlier than, some people might think. You're usually looking at juniors and sophomores, and then hopefully committing some juniors by the time, they're starting their senior year. And so that process can start a little earlier for some high school students, but it starts slowly trying to communicate and talk and get to know some players, and then usually wanting to go watch them play or obviously get some swing videos. And golf's a pretty black and white sport, so you can see scores and that kind of tells you a lot. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously a process that can be exciting for those prospective students. It's also very nerve-wracking for them, but just trying to get to know them and get to know their families and having them get to know our program and our team and even come seeing our campus. I mean, I think that's all important part of the process. And but it does, especially at this level, tends to start a little earlier than some people think.
As a head coach, what is it like when those prospective student athletes come on campus and fall in love with the Western Michigan campus and the golf facility?
It's always exciting, especially if it's somebody that you're really interested in having to be part of the program. I always like when kids come on campus and they have a lot of really good questions that they're, wanting to ask, and they get to see a lot of the team and meet some of those players. And I think that's a really important aspect of the process and the visit. But it's always great to see their reaction, and hopefully it's mostly good. But there's ups and downs anywhere you go, and so getting the truthful reaction and questions, I think it's always an important part of the process. And it's really cool to see when they really have a smile on their face and they're excited to be here.
As a head coach, what is it like getting to see those freshmen put on that Western Michigan golf polo for the first time versus your seniors putting it on for the last time?
Um, I think it's there's always a little feel of excitement for those girls when it's the first time, and obviously a little bittersweet for the seniors when it's the last time. For those freshmen, they're very excited, they're nervous, they're um, usually really ready to go. And so, they got a little burst of energy, maybe too excited sometimes, very nervous. So it's really neat to see them kind of develop throughout the year and kind of, their demeanor kind of change throughout the year too as they get used to that. But then on the same side as a senior, you kind of get the same way almost. They know that their career's kind of coming to an end, and they're getting a little nervous. They want to perform well. Um, and so, there's a little excitement that way, but um, it's always a little bittersweet to see, anybody like that leave your program, especially if they're a big leader of your program. Um, but it's a good celebration as well because they're a huge part of the process and where we're headed and how we've gotten to where we've um, been. And so, I want to recognize those people and want to celebrate those people, but obviously it's a little bittersweet for them.
As a head coach, what is it like seeing your seniors go on and leave the program and go to the pro circuit, whether it's staying in the US on the pro circuit or going towards the European realm?
It's really cool to see. It's neat to see their journey. I've kind of experienced that journey, so I kind of know where they're coming from, and um, they're with social media, it's a lot easier to follow some of these women and some of the posts that they have and the excitement they have with tournaments coming up or equipment that they may have received or things like that. It's really heartwarming and just to be able to support them is huge. But um, if it's their dream to go that route, it's something I always encourage them to try and give a chance and work hard and um it's really cool to see when they are successful though.
With you being a player and being on the pro circuit, how has that helped in your coaching career and helping the future people get closer to the pro circuit?
Just the experiences that I've had and the knowledge and when a player comes up to me and asks me about that or um, you know, is wanting to possibly do that. Just the insight I can give them, I think, is very important. The support I can give them, the truthfulness I can give them. I think that all kind of helps in a decision that they're making. Obviously, not everybody in this program is going to go and play professional golf. They have other aspirations in their careers, and that's always the number one goal when they come to this university is to get a degree and that hopefully leads to a very successful career, regardless if it's golf or not. So being able to support them and help them with any of their decisions is always something that's part of that's one of the biggest things I like about this job because I'm not just a golf coach and teaching them about golf and helping them with their golf game. I'm helping them establish a career and what they're wanting to do outside of this university and um that I think is the one of the biggest jobs of being a coach. So
What is it like getting to see your players take what you've taught them and take it into becoming a coach for the first time and getting into the coaching lifestyle?
well, I haven't had anybody be a coach yet. I've had a lot of players trying to get into coaching and giving them advice I think is a huge part of that, but um I know they want to learn to be better teachers. I think that's important and guiding them in that direction. um but I don't know, I mean it would be cool to see one of my players coaching here eventually, and seeing them at tournaments I think would be very unique. I think they would understand some of the things that I go through then. So it might give them a different perspective on me as a coach. But um, that's a good question. I haven't had that yet, so I don't know, but I'm sure I would or I would enjoy that and enjoy seeing them.
What are some of your future plans for the golf program moving forward?
Continue to build, continue to go in the direction that we're wanting to head. Um, a championship direction. Winning tournaments, winning golf events, continuing to stay um, strong academically. I think that's an important part as well. But yeah, I mean, my goal is to win conference. I know it's going to be difficult. We got some tough teams, um, but you have to have a vision, and we're always working towards that vision, and um, continue to do strong things here. That's my goal. I think that's kind of a goal for every golf coach, is wanting to get better and better every single year, and that's my goal. So
What advice would you give those incoming freshmen entering their first year of collegiate golf?
I'll just be prepared and ready to go. I know coming, your summer is a very important time to kind of get prepared and get ready for the fall season. I think that's important to use that time wisely to help develop your confidence going into that fall season, that first fall season, because it's always nerve-wracking for anybody you're wanting to play right away. And then just continuing to have that same discipline and that same motivation when you're here, when you're in it, when you have a lot of things going on. And um but I think it's something that you need to enjoy as well. Golf is a game, and you want to be able to have fun. And so, make sure that you're still doing that, I think is some great advice to give to incoming freshmen. But um I think just preparing and getting ready, knowing that it's not easy as a student athlete, especially that first semester, getting acclimated to all the things that are different in your life. But knowing that you have a team and you have that support system right away, hopefully will help, give you a little more, yeah, or put your mind at ease a little bit more, and knowing that these girls that are here as well have gone through exactly what you're going through. And if you're willing to be open and ask questions, you'll definitely be successful. So
What advice would you give those college golf players out there that are looking to go onto the professional circuit, whether it's the LPGA or the Women's Open?
um I mean, I would say just understand that it's competitive out there. It's you're typically the best player on your team. But you have to understand that everybody on that tour is the best on their team. And you have to put in that extra effort. You have to find, that little niche that separates you, that is going to make you better than your competitor. Um, and you have to put in that time, and it takes a lot of time. And you have to be willing to be disciplined in that, and enjoy the ride. I think that's something you never know when it will end, but it's an enjoyable experience. And you know be grateful that you're out there, because there's a lot of people that wouldn't have a chance like that.
What advice would you give those college golfers out there that are looking to get into college coaching after their playing career?
I think just being a college golf athlete is huge for you. That's something that a lot of schools and universities are looking for, is that experience in playing. And so that's a huge step right there in the right direction that you need. I think just trying to develop your teaching skills is huge. Helping where you can when it comes to clinics and teaching. I think that's something that, playing golf is one thing, but trying to teach somebody to play golf is a lot different. And being willing to uh, give that advice, I think, is important. But um, just stick with it. You got to start somewhere, and it may require you to have a couple jobs at the beginning. But if you really have a passion for teaching and coaching, you have to be open to the opportunities that come. And I think that's important, to really be aware of what's available out there, and just start somewhere. I think that's huge.
What advice would you give those head coaches looking to build their own program and build their own legacy?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, I'd say, um, you got to build a culture first, and you have to create a team that's willing to kind of follow that direction. Um, if you have players on your team that don't believe in you, then it's going to be hard to be successful, and you have to be willing to develop those relationships, not just as a coach, but as a person. Um, and I think that's important and goes a long way in developing um, those student athletes and developing the relationships to help trust them that you're going to lead them in the right direction. But it starts with building something that you believe in and being very dedicated and disciplined with that.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the Western Michigan's golf program at?
I'm on Instagram at Kim Moore 34. I think that's something where personally you can find me. Facebook as well. I'm not a huge social media person, so those are kind of the big ones for me. But our WMU Golf is on Instagram X, I guess it's now called X. Facebook. You can follow along on our website. Those are always some great places.
Thank you again, Coach Kim Moore, for your interview and best of luck in your future as the head women's golf coach at Western Michigan.
All right. Thanks, Brandon. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Kim Moore, for your interview and best of luck in your future.
Thanks, Brandon. Have a good one. Have a happy holiday.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.